Hi there, it's Hal Feldman, MiamiHal, and this is another episode of the MiamiHal Real Estate Show, where we talk about all things that are related to real estate. And before I start today's show, I am really excited for tomorrow. It is a special episode at 3 p.m. on Friday. That's tomorrow. And we are going to have the County Mayor, Daniela Levine Cava, with us. And we're going to talk about the budget and all the things that are related to real estate, as you might imagine. What is subsidized housing? What is affordable housing? And how the county is working their way to granting people the pleasure of having a home here in Miami-Dade County. But today, what I have is a great guest. She is a fellow real estate agent at RE/MAX Advanced Realty. That is the broker and the brokerage that we both work under. Lizette Cardoso is here with me.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, Hal.
And we have a special topic to talk about today because the real estate market is vast, but you have a specialty in the new construction,
Yes.
right? So we have areas of Miami-Dade County, typically those that are furthest away from downtown Miami,
Correct.
that tend to still have areas for development.
Absolutely.
And so there's very particular types of housing that are available. And there are several builders that are out there doing it en masse, as well as some onesie-twosie builders that'll put 2 or 3 homes up. And you've kind of got your pulse on all that, right?
Yes, absolutely.
All
There
right.
is still a lot of land to build new homes, new construction homes down in the South area, meaning anywhere from Florida City to Cutler Bay, even Miami South around the 230th Street, 248th Street. A lot of new construction, a lot of commercial building, a lot of employment opportunities coming soon.
Great. So let's focus in on this because I typically will have a buyer and, they're looking for any type of house. And sometimes, a new house will fit their needs. Then there's a couple of times where they're like, all I want is new. And
Correct.
so you see this often. Why would somebody want specifically only to have a new house? What are their reasonings and are they
Right.
sound reasons?
Sure, yeah, absolutely. There are several reasons. Number one, you don't have to go in and do a complete remodel.
Okay.
A lot of times when you purchase a resale home, there's a lot of remodeling people will tend to have to do. You do have a savings on your homeowner's insurance as well. And just like buying a new car, the smell of the new car, people love the smell of a new home.
I think you touched upon something which I want to really dig in on. You said that costs for insurance can be less expensive for a new home, but maybe people don't understand why. Why is insurance less expensive for a new home as opposed to one that's been there for 20 or 30 years?
Well, just because there's everything is brand new, basically.
Okay. But specifically to roofs, let's talk about that. An older home built before Hurricane Andrew, in particular, in 1994, when the code changed,
Right.
wasn't built as strong. But today's roofs are
Up to code. Correct. Everything is up to code.
And so that is a significant savings when a new home that can withstand winds of 160 miles an hour goes up against a home that might have been built in 1970, which maybe doesn't fare as well, right?
Absolutely. Plus, there are new roofs. Everything is just new. So lower risk for the insurance companies.
There you go. That's the word I was hoping you would come up with. It's a lower risk, and therefore insurance rates can be significantly lower in some cases,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely. Almost cut in half practically.
So what percentage of people do you feel in your business are only looking for a new home as opposed to, hey, find me something, and I don't care if it's a new home or an older home?
I mostly come across the majority of my clientele are looking for new construction.
Okay, great.
And the price point that they are looking for is more in the south part of Miami-Dade County.
Okay. And so one of the other things which certainly I'm aware of, and I want it to come from you, that strikes me is when you buy a new construction home, it's typically on a much smaller lot. So tell me about lot sizes and what people can expect if they're buying a new home.
Well, I won't say it's typically on a smaller size lot because we do have anywhere from 5,500 to half an acre, even an acre, just depending on your price point. So we do have a variety of different lot sizes. As a matter of fact, a lot of people are now looking into the Redland area just because of the lot sizes.
Got it.
Yeah.
And so you said that you are typically seeing developers work in the south area of Miami-Dade County
Yes.
and west.
Correct.
And that is because, and I'm kind of
Lots of land opportunity.
Land opportunity,
Mhm.
right? So the land opportunity is that certainly if you're looking in Coral Gables or Pinecrest or Coconut Grove, the land is so expensive.
Yes.
And of course,
absolutely.
there's things that have already been developed there. So for somebody to come in there and have a business where they can have any margin at all doesn't work in those areas. So they
Right.
have to move to where land is more plentiful and cheaper,
Yes,
right?
exactly. A lot of people are sacrificing. I do have a lot of buyers that work in downtown or the hospitals, Jackson Hospital, that have relocated to the south just because of home affordability. So
Yeah,
they're taking the sacrifice.
let's
Yes.
talk about that. Home affordability, especially over the last couple of years, has dwindled to almost nothing, right?
Mhm.
It's
Yes.
so expensive to become a homeowner rather than a renter.
Correct.
And so, what advantages do new homes potentially have over existing homes? Let's talk about that and the affordability that you're seeing with your clientele.
Well, exactly that, the affordability, lower risk of repairs and remodeling, and the insurance, as we are speaking about.
All right.
So,
And what can a home buyer who's out looking at a home built by one of the many large home builders that are in this area, what can they expect? It's not like you're going and bidding on a property that may have one or two offers, and it's already existing,
correct.
right?
Correct.
So it's a different experience to
Yes.
shop for a new home. Why don't you kind of walk through so our audience understands what they could expect if they wanted to go out and look for a quote unquote a new home?
Correct.
Yeah.
Well, what they can expect today is a little bit different from what they could have expected a few months back when the market was a little different. Right now, they can expect to have inventory. They can expect to have their closing costs paid pretty much for immediate occupancy homes. I'm negotiating with the builders for them to get the best interest rates because they are offering to buy down the interest rates as well. So there's a lot of opportunity right now for the new construction homes.
So as interest rates rise for the general public,
Yes.
if it's a new home, and again, we're missing one of the pieces in that
Mhm.
when you go to a large builder,
Hmm.
they will typically say, hey, we've got a deal for you if you take the lending from the
Correct.
affiliate that we work with. So
Correct.
let's explain that a little bit more.
Correct. So right now, whatever the market interest rate is, you can guarantee that with the builder, the interest rate will be less than the resale market.
I think our audience will like to hear
Yes,
that.
yes,
When you say
absolutely.
less, can you give us a range of how much less it typically is?
So let's say the interest rates right now are in the sixes,
Yeah.
more or less.
Mhm.
With the builders, you can be anywhere from 2 to 5%. And I say 2%,
Wow.
I say 2% with a 3-year interest rate buy down plan, where
Okay.
the first year it can be in the 2s, the second year in the 3s, and then the third year it will cap out in the 4% range for the next 30 years. If you do not go that route, then the 30-year interest rate right now that they're offering is more or less from 4.75 to 5.75%.
Still, all
Today.
that is significant savings.
Yes.
Yeah, I know you have to say today because the market's changing.
It changes, it
so
fluctuates,
quickly. Yeah.
the incentives fluctuate, so it just depends on the day. Yeah.
Got it. And then we also talked about new homes. You're saying of existing new homes, but a lot of times when somebody goes down to a development and you're out touring the homes that they can buy, you're not really looking at homes, are you? You're looking at floor plans and tell us about what
we
the
have
experience.
model homes, absolutely.
I understand, but
Okay.
you're not seeing the actual home that you're going to purchase a lot of times, right? Because you're
Right
looking,
now-
oh, we're going to put this home on that lot.
Correct. But right now, the best incentives that
Yeah.
are being given are for immediate occupancy homes.
Sure.
So you will get to see the actual home on the actual lot, in addition to model homes.
Got it. And
Yeah.
and why would there be a better incentive and price for an existing home as opposed to one that you want to have built in? Oh yeah, the developer says that we can have that ready for you in 3 months. Why is it more cost effective to buy something that's sitting there already?
Right, correct. Because they are ready to close on the home, and the builder wants to sell these homes. So
Yeah.
they want to close within 30 days at least, 30 to 60 days.
Here's the little secret, everybody. The builder wants their money as fast as possible.
Correct.
So if they got a house that's finished and they haven't been able to pre-sell it, they want that out of their inventory right away.
Absolutely.
Can you negotiate even further because of that fact?
I try my hardest. So yes, I try as much as I know that we possibly can. I work with amazing sales representatives with all the builders. So together we push as hard as we can to get the best deal for our clients.
And you are somewhat unique in how you're doing your business because, of course, as you said, most of your clientele are buyers.
Correct.
But you already have pre-existing knowledge and education and really partnerships with some of these builders, correct?
Yes, correct.
Why is that an advantage? If somebody came to an agent and said, I want to buy a new home, why would they work with you as opposed to somebody that doesn't have those relationships already? Tell us about the value of those relationships.
Well, I've worked with the builders. I used to work directly with a new construction builder for 10 years, and then I'm now in the general real estate world, such as yourself. So I do know the inside of working with a builder as opposed to the general real estate world. I have built the relationships with the current builders. They know who I am. They know that I have put a lot of my time and they know who I am, basically. So they give me a little bit of a leniency sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah. And again, a lot of what we do as real estate agents is we're building relationships, typically between buyer and seller. In the case of new construction, obviously, the seller and
Correct.
You're doing at least a deal and probably multiple deals with that seller. So once you've done one deal, everybody's more comfortable. And often that
Sure.
can be the grease in the works that makes things smoother, correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
They know who I am at this point.
And now I want to kind of focus and understand your world 5 years ago, let's say, helping people buy into new construction, as opposed to during the period of COVID, the heavy COVID years, we'll say. Unfortunately, it's years.
Right.
And now as we're exiting COVID and the heaviest effects thereof, what's it like? So 5 years ago, during the middle of COVID, and now, what's changed in the industry for you?
As far as the new construction,
Yeah.
I see that what has changed is people just prefer to be in a new home. They prefer to have the opportunity of that the builders offer them with zero closing costs and just all the incentives that they offer right now.
Okay, so that's right now,
Yeah.
zero closing costs. Is there a period in the past, recent or further back, where there weren't
Correct.
zero? So tell us why that's changed and what people used to
Right.
have to do to close.
Okay, well, the interest rates were much less before.
Mm-hmm.
So the builders were not offering all the closing cost incentives. Now the home prices are up, the interest rates are up. So there's more inventory on the market. So they need to release some of these homes and not have the inventory that they currently have. So
They're
pretty
willing
much,
to cough up some money
yeah.
at the front to make the deal
Absolutely.
work for them over time.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Whereas in the resale market, not to bust your bubble or anything.
That's quite all right. I'd love to hear you bust my bubble. Go ahead. Go for
The
it.
sellers are not offering, unless you negotiate that, obviously, the incentives or the
Agreed.
closing costs that the new construction builders are offering. So
Yeah.
it's a little bit different in both worlds.
And in your world again, and we'll broaden
They're
it
both
back
my
out.
worlds, but
We'll broaden it
Yeah.
back out to
Okay.
both worlds.
Sure.
In the new construction world, not only are there effects with the economy on what buyers are subjected to or what incentives they get, but there's also something that happens during specific times in the market where real estate agents can be better compensated for several years and not so well compensated for a couple of years. What cycle have we gone through during COVID with the builders in general?
Okay. Well, during COVID, a lot of people wanted and needed an office. So that was part of the craziness of purchasing home during the COVID. Homes were selling.
You're talking about
a
a home
lot.
office.
Yeah.
Yeah,
People,
okay.
people were looking to
Yeah.
upgrade, to get bigger homes because they wanted the space. Everyone was homebound, so they wanted backyard space. And
I like you, but not that much. Get in your own room, right?
so the homes were, in fact, there was low to almost no inventory during COVID. So yeah, the commissions changed a little bit during that time frame, but now they're back to normal. So we're all happy. And
Got it.
pretty much that was the situation.
Got it. So also during COVID, did you, and I have my own personal feeling about this, did you find it easier to potentially sell somebody new construction as opposed to existing home?
During COVID, I think that the inventory was low everywhere, that everyone was trying to get their hands on whatever they can get their hands on.
Got it.
So I believe both the new construction and the resale market were pretty much equal.
And sometimes, again, our audience is our buyers and sellers. I find it very interesting because all the different factors that created our market during the craziness of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
There was also a period kind of midway through COVID till today where different materials were not available, or they were available but at ridiculously high prices.
Correct.
Meaning plywood, I think,
Correct.
if I remember correctly, plywood almost tripled in price.
Yes, correct.
And everything from PVC piping to electric wiring, everything kind of fluctuated in prices so wildly.
Correct.
And how does that have an effect on a builder and therefore the buyers that are going to come in and buy their product?
Correct. Price increases.
I don't want you to say that.
Sorry.
But yes, you're right. It's price increases.
Price increases. Some of the prices were increased due to not being able to get material, or the increase in cost of the material. And I believe that's still somewhat the case now, still.
Yeah. And what about, you've been in the business long enough where you've seen people purchase those new homes,
Mm-hmm.
and then the community ages, as do they, and their kids go through school. And I'm sure you've also helped some of those buyers sell the homes several years later.
Correct.
Right?
Yes,
So
absolutely.
what's it like selling in a community? Because nowadays, when developers sell product where I'm building 300 of the same type homes in this
Right.
general area, is it different to sell something that they bought as new construction? Is it just a tougher market, or is it an easier market? Because way back when, the 70s and 80s, the older homes that we have in this area, everybody has a somewhat unique home by now. Either they were
Correct.
built unique, or by the time everything has been renovated, it's quite unique. What are the differences, and how can sellers of older new construction, if that's the right way to say it, what can they expect?
I don't see that there is a difference between older construction and the new construction as far as anything different. I believe that everything sells in Miami-Dade County because everyone's moving here, right?
Right. That's true. That's true.
We've got California, New York. There are a lot of people relocating to Miami-Dade County. So I think every home is a great home. Every home is in demand. And I don't see that there is a difference, except that one may be more newer than the other.
Yeah, there's at least one buyer that home is right for, right?
Mhm.
Or there's one
Absolutely.
right home for each buyer.
That's right.
And you just have to,
Absolutely.
through our hard efforts, we have to find that match.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about the market more in general. I have on this show shared my experience as well as my predictions over the last year and a half. And I'd like to kind of have you take the platform and tell me what your thoughts are over the last let's say 2 years, essentially since COVID broke, through the pandemic, and then what you think we're going to see in the next 3 months, and then maybe out as far as a year. Just kind of tell me your experience, because collectively, the real estate agents know a lot more than the media. Do you agree with me on that?
Yes, absolutely.
We see things earlier because the media can only pick up on things that have closed. Correct. And you and I are working in real estate every day, and we know what's going to close in a couple of months because we're still watching the financing happening, et cetera. So I'll give you the platform. Go ahead and tell us about what you've seen over the last 2 years and what you see for a year going forward.
So you're asking me to predict
a little
the future.
Bit, yeah. I'll bring up the crystal ball. There it is. Crystal ball's in front of you. Go ahead and go.
Let's see what I predict. You know what I have seen for the past few years?
Okay.
I have seen that people tend to wait because they are hoping the prices go down or the interest rates go down. I think in the real estate industry, if interest rates go up, well, if prices go down a little bit, it's because interest rates have gone up, and vice versa. So I don't believe that you're going to have interest rates and prices go down altogether. I think you may as well bite the bullet if you're looking to purchase a home, just because if interest rates are going up anyway, prices may go down a little bit, but the rates are going up. So, and rentals are expensive.
Rentals are quite expensive.
Yeah. So what I am hearing is next year, the interest rates are going to go up a little bit until sometime next year. So I don't really see, what is your prediction? How about you?
Well, I have said before, and I'll say it now, I believe the next 3 months are really going to be telltale. And I kind of knew what the Fed was going to do, not to the exact 0.75, which it was raised yesterday. But I knew that they were going to be aggressive in their stance. And my general prediction is you have a marketplace, both for buyers and sellers, that is really grating. We've been through a slog. It's very harsh. Rather than having long-term trends, everything has been a huge cycle up and down.
Correct.
And so people are wearing out of patience.
Sure.
And so my prediction is we're going to get into the holidays, and it will be a more normal holiday season, but people are going to see interest rates remaining generally higher than they have been in quite some time.
Correct.
And that the inventory is going to be relatively low. I don't think it's low anymore. I think there's enough houses out there that people, if they were out there looking, they could get things done.
Absolutely.
But I think you go through Thanksgiving, you go through Christmas, everybody's got their holidays on their mind, and nothing's going to significantly change in interest rates except for them to maybe tick up a little bit.
Correct.
And I really feel like everybody's going to kind of get to their breaking point on what the real estate market feels like to them. Not that the market has broken, but what it feels like to them. And I predict shortly after January, we're going to see prices come down because the sellers are just going to say, it's going to get really bad from here, so I better get out now.
Right.
And unfortunately, you kind of create a snowball effect. So I think starting around, early to mid-January, we start to see that downward trend on pricing. And a year from now, I think we're going to see some pretty significant drops overall. I would predict somewhere around, I used to say 10, now I'm saying about 15% reduction in prices by the end of calendar year 2023. How about you? Because you put me on the spot a little bit. I tried to get you to be on the record.
Right. I agree that the prices will tick down a bit, but I also feel like the interest rates will go up.
Okay.
So I feel like there's going to be a balance. I don't know. What do you recommend for our buyers and sellers? Should they buy now? Should they sell? What do you recommend?
Okay. All right. So sellers, and I'm a listing agent, right?
Correct. You
so,
are. Yes.
I would say this pretty much all the time, but I truly believe in this. You need to be on the market now. If you're ready to sell now, do not be afraid of not having a place to get to. Okay. Your best money actually is a couple of months behind you. Your you're going to continue to go down the hill, so to speak, going forward for the foreseeable future. So I tell sellers, now's the time to be on the market. If you're ready to move somewhere, do it. Now, that's really true almost any time, but it's particularly true now because I think that they're losing money off the table.
I agree. I agree.
Buyers, it honestly is a little tough for me to say this because it's bad for our industry now, but I would tell them to wait. I've had people that have looked with me during the entire course of COVID and for various reasons couldn't get something done. And now I'm actually telling them, rather than going out and being aggressive, hey, if you've waited this long and you've got a place to, stay for the next 3 to 6 months,
right,
I highly recommend you stay there for 3 to 6 months because I think your better buying days are ahead of you. Again,
correct.
Starting mid-January, that's when the beginning of the trend happens. And by mid next year, I think we're going to really see a big change in the market. That's my guess.
I agree.
All right. So Our audience is here. Lizette, tell us about what you would like to tell somebody if they're thinking about new construction. What should be on their mind and how should they approach it? Right there.
So if you are thinking about new construction, the majority of the new home builders are in the South. Prices are going to be anywhere from $370,000 for your townhomes, and then from $550,000 for single family homes. We have options everywhere from Florida City to Cutler Bay and even a little further north of Cutler Bay. What was your last question? I apologize.
No, that's great. And I want to give you the opportunity to sell yourself, right?
Okay.
So how do they get in touch with you when they want to talk new construction?
You can call me 305-244-6008, or you can look me up on Facebook under Lizette Cardoso, and pretty much call RE/MAX office. You can reach me at the Kendall RE/MAX office as well.
Perfect. Lizette, thank you so much for your expertise in new construction.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, absolutely. We always have the best on the show. So every single week, somebody great sits in that seat. And actually, again, a special episode tomorrow. The County Mayor, Daniela Levine Cava, will be with us right here to talk about the budget from Miami-Dade County and everything that has to do with real estate. So we'll see you here tomorrow. And again, Lizette Cardoso, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, Hal. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Have a great week. We'll see you next week.